Hi, and welcome to Mission Grateful Possible Month. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired, Anna Maria Bliven. And this month, we are going to be focusing on being grateful. Yes, we are struggling and we have our stresses, but in that situation, it actually gives us more strength to be grateful. And I get it too, that if you're in the midst of all of those struggles and strain and you're in a dark tunnel, what's to be grateful? I get that. I totally understand. But this month, you're going to be introduced to some folks that are so grateful for our service of sacrifice that they are literally servicing and sacrificing for us in salute to our service. So don't miss any of these episodes these months. And speaking of which, right after these messages, you'll be introduced to our first guest of this month. So don't go anywhere. So JR, you have a veterans ranch, or the veterans ranch. Could you tell our audience what that's all about?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us on here today. We are in sunny Lakeland, Florida, which is halfway between Disney World and Tampa, Florida. And we work with veterans, first responders, and kids that lost loved ones in the line of duty through horses. It's known as equine therapy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put one of these grooming brushes in your hand, get you start working that rhythmic motion of working with a horse, which is really a prey animal. It doesn't know you, it doesn't trust you. So you have to build bonds of trust with that horse, just like you do with people.
So when you put that in our hands, what are we doing with it? We're brushing and we're stroking, and that's somehow a physical therapy in itself?
Absolutely. It really gets into your psyche. This is one of about 5 different types of brushes you'll use on a horse. Just depending on how dirty it is, you use a different one for the mane and tail that you do anything else, but you're working that rhythmic motion. And like any repetitive motion you're doing, it's not only physical, but it's also mental and psychological. So you start forgetting about the world for a while. They always tell you in sales trainings to leave your problems at the door because they'll be there when you get back. This is absolutely no different. The main thing we want you to start doing, however, is start laying down those heavy coats of burden and really start walking off a new and improved version of yourself.
Yeah, and you're talking about burdens, and we're talking, I mean, let's be real. We're talking PTSD, anxiety, depression, survivor's guilt, anything and everything that is basically our mind that's blocking us from moving forward in life.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, I get told by veterans all the time that, JR, we don't own PTS. It just gets labeled onto us because, we get talked about the most with it. But there are lots of people who have had traumatic experiences in their lives. My brother-in-law, who's now 36 years old, when he was 8 years old, lost his twin brother in a car accident. They were arguing over who was supposed to sit in what seat. Well, when his brother got killed, that was his seat he was supposed to be sitting in. So you talk about survivor's guilt and all those things. He dealt with that a lot of ways most people shouldn't for a whole lot of years. Now he's better. He's married my sister. They have two wonderful kids, but you never forget what happened. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. We don't live in that 10% space. That's already happened. We live in that 90% space because let's face it, we're human. We tend to screw up the 90%, 100% of the time. God gave us choice and we don't always make the best ones. And so we're there to help you in that 90% space.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is you have a lot of events that brings us veterans together, and we all know that the camaraderie of being around other veterans that share the same kind of history, have the same reference points. Holy cow, we've also been growing up with the same acronyms. I mean, you know what I mean? It makes a difference. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Sunday we're having a veteran horse clinic and trail ride in Arcadia, Florida. And none of these, well, there are a couple of people that know each other, but for the most part, they don't know each other. By the end of the day, they'll feel like they've known each other for 100 years. And we're the same way. My wife and I are proud patriots. My dad was two-tour Vietnam veteran. My wife's dad was in the Army just right after World War II. So everything we learn, I pick up the acronyms as well, because you become a part of that culture. My dad was in the Navy. So when I'm going to the bathroom, I still say I got to go hit the head because I grew up hearing that my whole life, right? We all kiddingly know snafu and fubar, and, we know all those things that we won't obviously say full on here what they are. Everybody knows that knows. If you get it, you get it. And so, it's a very unique culture to be a part of. And we're just so proud to be a part of that culture that veterans let us into their world.
JR, I'm so happy that you are in our virtual studio today, because this month is Mission Grateful Possible. And we are highlighting folks like yourself that are basically saluting our service, but with a tangible service program such as what you have. And yours, equine therapy. And I know from other people's experience, I can't say from mine, because the last time I was on a horse, I got thrown off. It saw a llama and it kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
So it did one of these numbers with me on its back.
Yeah. Well, they say if you haven't been in the dirt riding horses, you haven't been riding horses long enough. But, it's not a matter of if, it's when. But, for the most part, the trail rides that we do, they're very docile horses. We try and really specialize in that. Last thing you need is anybody that's easily triggered, being on an easily triggered horse. We don't use performance horses. If they're rodeo or, any kind of performance, barrel racers, reiners, anything like that, we stay away from those. That's a specialty training where you click the wrong spot, you're off to the, Kentucky Derby, and that's not what we're doing.
Okay, so we will be talking more about what you are doing right after these messages.
Let me introduce you to Frank Sinclair. He has a business called Dream Again Business Consulting. Frank believes that you were put on this earth for a specific reason. It's his job to find out why. If we follow the natural course of your life and your story, it always leads to your purpose.
Hey vets, you know who I am. This is Ranger Johnson, and I want to help you to get the VA disability rating that you deserve. And if you want to know more about the Ranger method, please go to championsforveterans.com and schedule a free consultation now. Stay in the fight!
Welcome back to Veterans and Onward to Prosperity. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven, and this episode is the first one in the month of Mission Grateful Possible. And we are so grateful that the Veterans Ranch is making themselves available for, I don't want to use the word treatment or therapy, but how about just a good time? A good time.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's therapy without laying on a couch and telling someone your mommy didn't give you enough hugs growing up, or whatever. I mean, there's time and place for that. We all kid about those things, and they're needed. Those things are needed. But this is really about getting out, appreciating veterans for who they are, what they've done. Let's face it, less than 1% of this nation raise their right hand to defend against foreign and domestic. And, that's a unique individual that does that. I know some folks that basically the judge said it's one or the other, and some made the choice. My dad said it was choice or chance. When he was in junior college, he got sick, dropped a couple of classes, and he went 1A like that, he said. So he's like, well, nothing against the other branches, but he said, they're not throwing me in the Army. I don't want to go to the Marine Corps. So, what's this SEAL thing they're talking about? They went down to the Navy recruiter. His brother had just graduated from the Naval Academy, or not the Naval Academy, but going into the Navy in Michigan in the winter time. He didn't want to do that. So he said, where's boot camp? And they said, sunny San Diego, son. Well, I didn't tell him how cold the Pacific Ocean is in March. So,
They left that part out.
Yeah, recruiters never lie. My recruiter didn't lie to me. The Marine Corps tried real hard to get me. I ain't going to lie. But I had choices. My friends that went in, God love them, they all came home, but they didn't feel they did. So they went in. And, and we salute them for their service as well. But that's what it is. It's really about having a good time. COVID forced a lot of people to not have a good time, and not getting into the political side of any of that. But, you're told to compartmentalize, isolate, can't go see your doctors, can't see your family or friends. Thank God for Zoom. At least we had that. But it's not the same as giving somebody a hug. And a good firm handshake and things like that. And we're no different. We like that. So, this is why we love getting out, doing these events, and it's therapy for all of us. I mean, we're not going to lie. It's therapy for us too. I'm 6'4", 260. I'm a giant teddy bear. If we get into a group conversation and people just kind of start losing it, I'm group hugging everybody. So, I mean, it's just about having that good time. You're absolutely right.
So let's talk about the trail ride. How many times a month or a year do you have these trail rides?
Getting going here again post-COVID. We're trying to do one about every other month just so we can get the word out, good marketing, if you will, to let people know it's going to happen. And we use other people's horses for our therapy. So we rely on other people's schedules as well. So at least a good few times a year, every other month, we get our own piece of dirt, then as we say, we'll be doing it every single day, where that's the goal and that's the mission.
Okay, so you're using other people's horses. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're kind of like, if everybody, listening here today knows the story of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, she started the charity, the mission, in the bedroom of her deceased daughter that got killed by a drunk driver, no money. And she just knew she had an enemy, drunk drivers, and a passion for making sure this didn't happen to someone else's kid. And that's how she started it. We're literally coming to you from our home office here. We run this out of our home, and we use other people's horses. But it's always been the mission to have somewhere between 10 and 20 horses of our own, cabins on our property to where a vet and a +1 can stay on the property for a week at a time on our nickel. Let me be real clear to everybody listening today. We do not charge veterans for what we do. We are 100% donation based. So that's why you see us like you do the other folks on TV, sometimes seemingly like we're trying to bludgeon you over the head and ask you for money. But, we don't have $450 million budgets a year. We're your average nonprofit that's, really running on the slim margins, like a lot of folks out there. So that's where we're always asking for folks' help.
Right. And speaking of which, right after these messages, we're going to talk about the upcoming trail ride this Sunday. Don't go away. Ron salutes as a LinkedIn business strategist and relationship advisor. He's the co-author of 21 Days to Success with LinkedIn. He's a guest speaker for the U.S. Army on veteran transition. Contact Ron at his website.
Mike Merwin here, U.S. Navy retired submarine officer turned entrepreneur. I turned my hobby of 25 plus years making beef jerky into a thriving small business. Made in small batches with only high quality ingredients, it's not good, it's crazy good. A portion of all proceeds helps save military lives. Order now on www.crazymikesjerky.com using code CB10 for 10% off.
And welcome back. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven, and this is Veterans Onward to Prosperity. And we have had the pleasure of having J.R. Smith from the Veterans Ranch on with us today. And he's got a trail ride coming up this Sunday. Want to tell us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a veteran horse clinic and trail ride at Peace River Charters in Arcadia, Florida. It's about an hour and a half due south of Lakeland, Florida, where we're at. And it's going to be a great time. We're going to have probably about 20 different veterans and their plus ones, so spouses and significant others coming out. And again, we pay for all that. We don't have them pay for anything. We got some great supporters. We've got Russell Western Wear giving away some gift cards. The local Hooters gave us some gift certificates to a 50 count plate of wings. I got some of those. One of my best college buddy friends from St. Louis, where I'm originally from, who owns Uncle Kenny's Barbecue in Claremont, Florida. We will give him a big plug. He is providing some pulled pork, some baked beans, some homemade chips. We're going to be serving that for the day and just have a lot of fun. We should have the Suncoast Military Vehicle Preservation Association. I'll get that right. Get that out there. They bring out some World War II Jeeps and motorcycles and Humvees. So in between the trail rides, we give people rides around the property, let them experience some good old days. And for the Humvees, sometimes some very recent days, depending on when they got out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So did you already get these registrations taken care of, or is there room for more?
We've got a few more slots, probably 2 or 3 at best. It's been a great turnout. We're so pleased and thankful the response that we've had. We've had great support from the Tampa VA, the Polk County Veterans Council, which is the county where we live here, and with them spreading the word. But we need a little bit more help to cover some expenses for this. Again, we pay for everything out of our pocket. So right now, between today and tomorrow, really, just so all the charges can come in time, we need everyone to go to theveteransranch.org, click that donate button, make a one-time donation of $25. I mean, literally, if you and your family go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or anything else, you'll know you'll spend more than that there. So one less fast food visit, and you're going to help sponsor a veteran and a plus one for a great trail ride this weekend.
Yes, and we just talked about the impact that makes on a life of a veteran. It's serious.
It sticks with them. Real quick story. The last trail ride we did, we had an active duty airman. We had a good feeling he hadn't been on a horse before. His wife had. She ridden dressage for 20 plus years. She was a kid in a candy store to be there. We paired this man up with a Belgian. For folks that don't know what a Belgian is, take the Budweiser Clydesdales. We all know that image. Shrink it down just a little bit, and that's a Belgian. Like I said, I'm 6'4". I'm barely looking at withers, which is their shoulders. He's looking at ribs. So he's freaking out. His wife comes over, says he's cursing me out. He's mad. He's upset. He wants to go home. We knew he was scared. I will never speak to someone like I wore the uniform. So I brought a Marine buddy of mine over. who spent about 2 minutes just breaking him down, Marine to airman. Gee, I wonder how that went, right? But we just had fun. He started laughing with him. And he just said, seriously, what's wrong? He said, guys, I'm from the Bronx. That's all he had to say. He's from basically the city, right? I mean, complete city kid, stray dogs running through the neighborhood, never saw, Central Park Mounted Patrol. We got him on that horse, taught him how to steer more with his feet than with his hands. Long story short, an hour later, he comes back from the trail ride, get him off the horse. We said, how you doing? He's smiling ear to ear, said, I'm walking a little funny, but I'd like to go out on the next trail ride after I get something to drink. That's the power of God's majestic animal, because it's not about us, okay? We don't break our shoulder patting ourselves on the back. It's the good Lord and the horse bringing everybody together. His wife was in immediate tears, which, of course, again, we're all like, we're just all group hugging. And, but then we kind of had to cowboy up a little bit, like, oh, we weren't crying. We had some dirt in our eye. And, so, I mean, it was just a lot of fun to, because he was about ready to go back out to Okinawa. So I guarantee you, he went back out, sticking his chest out a little higher, telling his buddies, you ain't going to believe what I did. That's the power of this animal.
Yes. And again, he's going to go to Okinawa. He's going to have had the experience of that trail ride. That's going to be one more boost of confidence. I mean, yeah, some people might think, what's the big deal? You're riding a horse. But it is a big deal, especially if you're coming from the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or here's a situation where you're trying to get over something that happened in the recent future, in the recent past, that you saw and may have been a part of, and you just wanted to go away. Well, for that moment of the trail ride, it's gone away.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I mean, because we all experience PTS at different levels. My dad was running Marines upriver out of Da Nang. His call sign was sniper bait because he was running the dual 50 cals on the front of the boat. He saw the ugliest that the world had to offer in 69, 70 in Vietnam. My uncle, who we just lost to Alzheimer's here about a year and a half ago, he was Big Red 1, also in Vietnam, but never fired a shot in anger, never had a bullet whiz by his head. It was his job to write and or proofread all the "we regret to inform you" letters that came across his desk.
Oh my gosh.
He experienced every death that came across his desk to the point that he begged his commander for a gun and to go on to the field, because that had to be better than what he experienced on a daily basis. Long story short, they didn't let him do that, but that's two different levels of PTS. One saw the worst of humanity. One saw what humanity could cause.
Right.
So, again, for that few hours that we're out there working with those horses, having a trail ride, laughing, loving, and just having a good time, you forget about the world for a while. And that sounds like some kind of cheap phrase, but it's really true. You zone out, you forget about the world. Your problems will be there when they get back. Hopefully, they're just not as strong as they were before you got on that horse.
Exactly. And then having a chance to have that camaraderie with other folks that are going through practically the same thing everyone else is going through also allows you to have a sounding board.
Well, it's key. You develop your own network. A lot of these people, they'll stay in touch with each other. They'll get business cards or exchange phone numbers, whatever the case might be. Now they have more people they can talk to. I call them battle buddies. Okay. You have battle buddies of when you were in the service. My dad calls horses your seventh sense. Okay. He compares it to the buddy in your unit that knew everything about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, didn't judge you. You were there to get him home. He was there to get you home. That's a horse. That's why we chose horses. You can ask a horse to run and it will continue to run at full speed for you until it collapses and dies. That's a loyalty most veterans have never seen since they left the service.
That's true.
Okay. And so that's why my dad calls them the seventh sense. So they are going to network with each other, share business with each other. If you had a choice of doing business with just a regular small business or a veteran-owned small business, we know which way most people would go, especially in the veteran community.
Right.
And that's what we're helping develop. And it's just amazing to watch. Sometimes you just sit back and watch it happen organically on its own. And it really is just truly amazing. The good Lord told us how to do this at 3:00 in the morning in October of 2017. By December of 17, we were a 501c3. A lot of on-the-job training there in between, but it's been a great ride, but the ride ain't over yet.
No, it's not over yet. And I love the fact that you do plan to have more of your own courses eventually in the future. All right, well, we're going to talk about that in just a moment, right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Christopher Guzak from the Disability Channel, and we support persons with disabilities and veterans in media in conjunction with the Ontario government and our employment programs.
I'm Zach Damon, host of the Disability Channel Detroit. Please join us at the Disability Channel and watch the Disability Channel Detroit for all your Michigan disability information.
What's the cost of freedom? Life, limbs, sanity. To survive, soldiers need hope and help. Won't you help? Pledge $22 a month to the Veterans Ranch and give hope to returning U.S. military. For details, click the link and give hope to our returning military. Just $22 a month.
And welcome back to Veterans Onward to Prosperity. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Blevin, talking with J.R. Smith from the Veterans Ranch. And we've been so, I would say, privileged to just, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been part of a trail ride just in the description that J.R. has given us. I urge you to really seriously consider being a part of this mission. It means a whole lot to a bunch of folks that just are weary from the war, that are just, they're struggling and there's a lot of stress, but to be able to get on a horse and do this ride really makes a world of difference. So the veteransranch.org, did you say?
That is correct. TheVeteransRanch.org.
Yes. So the veteransranch.org, and donate for this Sunday's trail ride to cover the cost of that. But we are coming to 222 to Save 22, JR. We are moving forward with that as a coalition of veteran service organizers, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for the future. The future of the Veterans Ranch is going to have your own horses, I guess your own corral. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Right now, the property we have our eye on is 32 acres, has about 16 stalls that we can utilize, an arena, a round pen, a hot walker, and for anybody that's in the horse world just knows everything I just mentioned. It's got everything. We can grow our own hay. We're also going to partner with a good friend of ours out of the Frisco, Texas area, Veteran Produce, who has his own company called Veteran Produce, and he shows veterans how to take a greenhouse through hydroponics and aquaponics, grow your own food. Farm to table used to be how we ate. Now it's a catchphrase called organic, and they charge you. Literally, I was in the store over the weekend. I could get a head of lettuce for say $1.79. The organic lettuce was $2.69. It's just how it's fertilized, folks. If that's how you eat, God bless you. I'm not judging anybody, but we're going to show people that if it hit the fan, and there's a chance, right? There's always that chance, and you couldn't even use dirt. You can still eat, and you can eat well, through hydroponics and aquaponics. It's an easy process, but it's going to be one that we're going to look forward to share with people. And, so you're not only going to be working with horses, you're going to be learning how to do things you didn't even know that you knew how to do or wanted to learn how to do. But again, it's that therapeutic nature of working with your hands, getting your hands dirty, getting back from doing this all the time that we're all doing all day long. I'm just as guilty, and getting your hands into God's earth and just really having fun.
Yes. I love it. I absolutely love it. So yes, we're going to cover the cost of Sunday's trail ride, but we're looking beyond that to building a veterans ranch. JR, thank you so much for going out of your way. I know you had a lot of stuff going on today, but you made time to be on the show, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I'm also very grateful, this is Mission Grateful Possible, that you're here, that you're available, that you're doing what you're doing to help us. And I wish you all the best for the future, and we're working together for your future.
Well, we sure are, and we thank you so much. We thank everybody who's watching in and listening today. You know, we say a lot of things, but we always say this, and it's our pleasure to serve the ones that served us all. You know, some gave some gave all, and we're here for all of them. And we just can't thank all of y'all enough. If you're from the South, you understand all y'all's the plural of y'all. So thank you again so much. We love being on here and being able to spread all of our messages.
Thanks, JR. And I will wrap up this episode right after these messages.
All about inclusion and really giving everyone a fair say.
Welcome to the Today Show. This is our flagship show. I am Unstoppable Tracy.
I am Zach Damon.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am excited. What is up?
We have a great show today.
Jay Stoyan here for the Disability Channel, the world's only inclusive channel for and by persons with disabilities.
Get ready to be inspired, everyone.
We have people watching from all over the world, but also all over Ontario.
We also take a concerted attention in the veterans community.
In moments of stress and trauma, we can get a hold of ourselves.
To help make a difference for people with disabilities, to show people how to love themselves or their disability.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, giving this platform for myself and other people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this episode of the Disability Channel Detroit. Please tune in next time.
Well, we just learned a lot from J.R. Smith at the Veterans Branch of how it is that he is saluting us for our service and sacrifice. Going on a trail ride, doesn't that sound cool? Going on a trail ride, taking care of the brushing of the horse, being out amongst the wilderness, the trail, you know, just being outdoors and experiencing what that's about, and being with each other is therapeutic, and it is camaraderie for that day that might even become more of a battle buddy for after that day. But what I'm getting at is this: it is great that someone like J.R. Smith and the Veterans Ranch is actually doing what they're doing to salute us for the service of what we did and what we're doing and for the rest of our lives. So I hope that you feel, by watching this and listening to this, two ways. One, you want to get on board. You would literally want to be a part of that trail ride in some way, shape, or form. Either you're going to participate on the ride, or you're going to cover the cost or help to cover the cost. And all you got to do for that is to go on the veteransranch.org and hit the donate button. The other thing is that you too would be finding a way to be grateful and show your gratitude toward another veteran. So veteran to veteran, right? Veteran to warrior. Let's not forget our warriors that are still in the fight in the service of our country. So next week, we're going to meet another veteran service that is saluting our service. So until then, just remember, be the best you can be.